Well, I'm really honored to have him with us for the next 60 minutes. He is former Minnesota Governor Jesse Ventura, star of Hollywood alongside Arnold Schwarzenegger and many others. Two of my favorite movies, The Predator and, of course, The Running Man. And he is going to be with us again for the next hour. I want to talk about the bailout, the economy, the police state, 9/11 Truth, a TV show pilot he's working on. I want to talk about just a whole host of issues with him in the next hour. Governor Ventura, it's great to have you here with us.
Hi, Alex. Great to be here. Looking forward to coming down to Texas at the end of October.
Absolutely, and before this hour ends, I'll tell people specifically about that event. Out of the gates here, I didn't do any pre-interview. What do you think is most important to start off the hour with, sir?
I don't know, really. I guess the economy right now, of which, I'm paying, I think all of us are paying attention to it and trying, I guess, to figure out the dilemma is, does a bailout work or doesn't it work? You hear two sides to the story, and it certainly puts you in a predicament of picking the lesser of two evils, which means you're still picking evil.
Well, let me throw in my 2 cents. They are terrorizing the public with the president and others saying, do this or there'll be a depression. Stuff like that from a Treasury Secretary and a president itself is fire in a theater. And then if you read the bailout plan, it gives them total immunity. It allows them to basically be separate from the government with no oversight. So really, I think the $700 billion itself is a distraction compared to the new powers it gives the Treasury.
Okay, well, I'll trust you on that one. I've been involved in other things the last week or so. If that's the case, then I fully do not support the bailout. Then I think it's ridiculous because this bailout, if it indeed happens, should come with so many rules and regulations that it's as sound as anything you can imagine, because you can't be just taking money and handing people blank checks and telling them to fix it, because that leaves virtually no accountability. It's kind of like how the war was run in Iraq.
We've certainly seen a lot of that. We were lied about the war. We were lied to about so many other issues, and now the same crew. Let me take the conflict of interest. We have Henry Paulson, who still has a big stake in Goldman Sachs, directing tens of billions of dollars a week into his own company. I mean, how can he be doing that?
Well, I guess the best answer to that, Alex, is that we've forgotten that the Constitution today is a thing of the past. It's a document that doesn't exist anymore, which says there will be a separation of powers into 3 separate divisions. And as I look at the country today, I see that isn't happening at all. That we aren't a separation of power anymore. There seems to be no checks and balances whatsoever, which is what the forefathers tried to put in when they created the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, was that making it a system of checks and balances. And the problem is we've allowed people. I mean, I kind of laughed the other day when I heard Ralph Nader refer to George Bush as King George.
And a socialist.
I don't think Ralph is that far off with being able to say King George.
Well, I agree. He's also pointed out that George Bush is more socialist than any president we've ever had. He's just giving it all to the elite.
Right. Oh, yeah, completely. This is a bailout of wealthy, and their argument is that these are the people that provide the jobs, so that it will have a trickle-down effect to all of us, which I have to assume will be some correctness to it. But again, how do you bail out the top and trust what they're going to do? Clearly, I find it very interesting that the very people that wanted to deregulate everything are the ones now leading the socialist bailout.
Absolutely. Governor Jesse Ventura will also talk about his book that's been on the New York Times bestseller list, Don't Start the Revolution Without Me. He is our guest for the rest of the hour after this quick break. Stay with us. Governor Jesse Ventura is our guest for the rest of the hour. There's so many issues to be discussed and to talk about. But finishing up with the bailout, the internationalists that run the banking system created these trillions in derivatives. They tied it to our bank accounts, our 401ks. Now they're saying, come in and invest in this, or basically it's all going to implode. and these are the same interests that have all been moving offshore. And so just in closing, any other thoughts on what's currently happening with the bailout that they are set to vote on in the Senate today, Governor?
Well, again, we have to watch. My thing to tell all the American people is be vigilant, man. If you're not holding people's feet to the fire, you're going to get bad government. And that's the problem in this country as a whole, is that we sit back, we live in our own little worlds, and we don't pay attention to what's going on with the nation. And then by the time it catches us, we're basically caught with our pants down because we haven't paid attention at all. Maybe the good thing that will come out of this whole bailout issue is that it will finally get the American people to rise up, take their heads out of the sand, and start paying attention, Alex.
Yeah, I don't want to go back to ancient history, but I sure wish you were running for Senate. I don't blame you for not doing that because you got some other, ways of getting the word out to the people staying in the fight, and we appreciate you not going back to back to Mexico to surf. We know that's probably quite beguiling, but let's get into the fact that you are doing a pilot, and I know you're doing some other stuff, but I don't know how far you can go, Governor.
Well, I'm doing actually. I've got possibly 2-3 pilots in the hopper, but I always like to tell people that I don't discuss them in great detail until the first check clears the bank. That's because these are TV shows, and I'll be straight out front. I do get paid when I do pilots, like anyone else.
You're not a communist.
Our job, and you got to earn a living, and so, but. The pilot that we're doing now with the True TV network, which is the formerly Court TV, is going to deal with conspiracies, and because conspiracies have fascinated me for going on 20 to 25 years or better now. Starting off with the murder of John F. Kennedy and watching it evolve into everything else, and now into the 9/11 conspiracies, and so I think it's very intriguing stuff, and even for people that don't believe or don't want to, or whatever it may be, it's still very compelling and interesting, and and to me, it's truly better than anything like Tom Clancy could write or anything like that, because in many ways, real life has more intrigue and mystery than what anyone could make up in their own minds and write it down as a fiction writer. Alex, I have my own imagination, so I don't really need to see somebody else's imagination or read about it. But I love history, and it disturbs me greatly when history is not recorded correctly, or if history is misled, because then generations from now, people will never get a clear picture over what went on. And so, delving into conspiracies, I think, is just great intrigue and great dramatic television. And not only will it hopefully inform you, hopefully will entertain you at the same time.
Well, I know that the networks are very interested in this because I've been approached many times with similar ideas by the networks, delving into the secret meetings, infiltrating them, basically exposing what's going on underneath the rocks of government and corporations. And I can't think of a better person than the former underwater demolition and Navy SEAL individual and a former governor out there, running around covering all of this. Now,
wait, Alex. Let's not cheat me either. Now that Sarah Palin's out there, I'm also a former mayor.
Absolutely, and former radio talk show host, and movie star, and professional wrestler.
Well, that's going to be the intrigue of the show. As I said in the press release. I've been a mayor, I've been a governor. Now I'm going to get a chance to be a detective and to be able to go seek out the truth and hopefully go question people and get some answers. I guess, if I could, what's going to happen in this show somewhat, I guess for lack of any other better way to put it, I'm going to become somewhat of a Michael Moore of television, I guess, for this pilot.
But going after... But going after harder issues.
I'm going to go ask questions, people, and I think my credibility precedes me to where they can't take me lightly, and I'm going to go simply ask questions. And Alex, when I was going through underwater demolition training, when we got to second phase, which was land warfare and demolition, when I went through, I had an instructor back then during the demolition phase at San Clemente Island, and this instructor was a chief warrant officer, and he impressed to me very strongly, with no reservations whatsoever, that there is no such thing as a dumb question, especially when you work with demolition. Because not only can you kill yourself, you can kill your teammates along with you. And so I've gone through life with that premise in mind, that there is no dumb question. A question certainly isn't dumb to someone if they don't understand it.
Well, that's
not dumb to them.
Well, that's what I've seen mainstream.
Well, that's the way that I've gone through life. And that's what the essence of this TV show is going to be, simply that there is no dumb question, and every question deserves a honest answer to it. And so I'm going to be out and about asking some, solid questions that I certainly don't consider dumb, and I don't think most people in America would either.